It's fine, I guess. Let's play Genshin. I want to play Genshin. I'm on the Genshin grind. So we're gonna ride that wave, girl. Oh, the volume's off. Oh, you know what it is? It's because I was doing a bunch of story quests and I didn't want to hear them talk. I was like, girl, shut up. Oh. I can't go over there today. Actually, maybe I can if I just...
Oh. What they say is true. You have to see the world for yourself to appreciate how beautiful it is.
That's fine. It's whatever. Who cares if there's a black bar behind me? I wish I didn't have this part of my desk. Like, I wish it was like a shorter part of an L desk. Because I have an L desk. Like, there's a desk in front of me. And then there's a desk right here. So I wish there was like... It like stopped. Like, because this is way too far. I don't do anything on this side of my desk. Like, way back here. Hi, Alan. Happy sponsored Saturday. Yes, everybody, if you... Today's stream... Let me move the bad object out of the way. Oh my god, it's still there. Whatever. If you guys want to purchase any Oodie products and you want to purchase any of the polyester products, you can go over to Oodie's website, and you can also use code Nemesis Network at checkout to get $35 off of your order. Thank you so much to Oodie for sponsoring the stream. Thank you so much for providing the product to showcase on my gorgeous self. You guys can also look very sexy and gorgeous in your products if you wear an Oodie, if you buy an Oodie, and you can also plant a very sexy tree if you buy a product. So if you buy a product with Oodie, they're making it so they're planting one tree in partnership with onetreeplanted.org. So you buy a product that's good for the environment, you buy basically a tree for the environment that's good. You're also supporting me by using my code at checkout. So it's just a good all-around deal. So if you'd like to do that, you can do that. That is what today's sponsor is. And we're gonna play Genshin, so thanks for hanging. We are in Sumeru, and Sumeru is very earthy. So like, happy Earth Day. Yes, God. Slaying the trees, the house boots. How's your Genshin journey? I'm feeling the kick. I'm feeling the love for Genshin. I played all morning. Because my sleep schedule right now, you guys are gonna be gagged a little bit. I am waking up at I want to say like 5 or 6 a.m. I'll do my routine. I'll shower. I'll maybe go for a walk. I'll do some exercising. I'll do some yoga. And then I'll sit down at my desk, make sure all my emails and stuff are kept up to date, figure out what I want to stream. Then I've been playing Overwatch, Genshin, or just browsing TikTok and sending memes to my good friend Slay Mama while they're sleeping. And I'm awake at the ass crack of the night. But also sometimes Marshall is awake because it's late in Australia. So, and when they're both asleep, I'm just fucked. You're about the same time I'm getting up for work. Yeah, I mean, I actually like my routine right now. If I do sleep, I do feel it sometimes. Like, there's some nights that I feel it. I'm starting to kind of get the kick back in me, like sleeping in a little bit. But I don't know. It's just like, if someone's awake, I'll be awake. But if nobody's awake and nobody's doing anything with me, I'm like, oh, bitch, I'm about to go to sleep. Because what was I doing last night? Well, we streamed, and then I ate. I didn't even eat dinner. I was like excited to eat dinner and I didn't even eat dinner. What did I do yesterday? I don't even remember. Huh. That's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, it's more so just me waking up. It's like a nap. A very long nap. I don't know. God forbid I'm normal for once in my life, sleeping. And I'm like, this is so bad. But like, no, girl, that's how you're supposed to sleep. Did you watch SmackDown? I saw the end of the Chelsea and Liv match, and I thought it was really cute. I actually really... Not the Chelsea and Liv match, just not talking about Sonya or Raquel. I thought it was really cute. I really liked the finish. I liked the end. I liked how it ended, like gimmicky. Kind of gave a little Divas era, if I'm honest, which I lived for. No pun intended. Girl, let her cook. Did you see the promo backstage? Liv was going crazy, and then Raquel just comes up and goes, what did she say? She said one word in Spanish. It was really funny to me. It was like so camp. It was giving very the mom from Wizards of Waverly Place. Okay, I'm investigating. Okay, here we go. I miss it too. I really like the finish. I like their feud. I hope it goes until Backlash. Well, this Saranja's really cute. Big hat. I like need like my stomach is I haven't like eaten dinner in like 3 days. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because like I'll literally stream until like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get in bed for 2 seconds, and then I end up forgetting to eat. So like last night I was so excited to eat chicken tenders, and I just didn't make anything. I was so stupid. I was like, girl, come on. Hi, Max. Hello, Sam. You need that dinner DoorDash sponsor stream? Listen, I have some friends over at DoorDash, and I am in the midst of some emails, so we love DoorDash. We hate Uber Eats. Fuck those guys. I'll say that before I'm in a contract. They literally are. They're terrible. Obtain living spring. Is it down here? Hello, guys.
A minute to memory. Here. Allow me.
Allow Mia. Hey, Sasha. That's what I thought. Frog emoji. I need to make I want to make like a Kokomi emote from Genshin. That's my mother. I need... Can you F off? I don't want to switch just to get this fucking lever to go up higher. I should. It's already made. Me when I steal their products and put it behind my paywall. And what about it? And you're mad and you're upset. IDGAF. Okay. Okay. Girl. it's not. Oh, that's not. Why are we so zoomed in? Back it up. Thank you, Key. Friend of the pod, newfound streamer. Everybody follow Key. Oh my god, my tummy be rumbling. When was the last time I ate? What time is it? Oh, bitch, I ate right now with this look. Oh, I ate. But when was the last time I ate food? Okay. The walls in Sumeru, like, climbing is, like, so bad. Like, I feel like there's so many, like, little, like, spots on the walls here that you get stuck on and can't climb. Fix it. I know, this literally, like, Genshin Impact dupe? Do I have, like, something to tide me over? I do! Oh, not the hair in the lip gloss. This is actually Breath of the Wild. Do you remember how it was to be a Genshin Impact fan in... like when it first came out and everybody was like, it's just anime Breath of the Wild, like literally copying Breath of the Wild, like, oh my god, like how dare they, like they added like feathers and wings and like it was literally like you were fighting for your life. It was terrible. Hi Slay 420. Good morning. Yeah, I'm gonna be crunching and munching. Actually, the last dinner I had was that terrible McDonald's, so that's probably why I'm so hungry and like sleepy, because I haven't eaten dinner in a couple days. I'm excited for the new Star Rail though, the new Honkai Star Rail. So where to now? I probably will. If I'm awake and not busy. Somebody asked me if I was gonna play a Star Wars game. I went, do I look? I was shocked. Oh, it's not far away at all. That's like right there.
Blinding sunlight is such a pain. No way I can get a nap in this weather. Good roll. All right, maybe I'll take one more day off and
hello,
knock out the rest
Marcos.
of the work once I'm feeling up to it.
Okay. I forgot to take my vitamins. They're so sour. Ah! But so good for you. Ah! Okay, it's done.
Take it easy.
Hi, Gabe. California girls are unforgettable. Okay. Oh, found you. Got your nose. They're so funny. I love them. They're so cute. The sound effect. Boop, 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 boop. I like that they have the permanent kitty face. We need to bring the kitty face back. I don't care. The kitty face is camp. It's good. I love the kitty face. I'll use it all the time. I don't care. I don't care if people think I was one of the people that hated it back in the day. I was like, oh my god, you're so cringe. I love the kitty face now. I don't care. Same, me too. The like dance where they're like California. That like, yeah. I miss Friday the 13th. That game was so fun. I didn't know the new Texas Chainsaw is made by the same people that made Friday the 13th, which is kind of camp, but also like, are they gonna get shut down again? Because you know it's an IP, the licensed IP. Yeah, you were breaking the law, Maddie. You're sick. You know what's also sick? Ordering Domino's last night. Literally my entire chat last night ordering Domino's when I said I wanted Domino's and I can't get it. That's sick. Girl, shut up! You live in like another country. Donnie, oh, I'll be nice. Don't even start with me right now. No, you don't want this. I would be such a good heel on TV. Or like a villain. Bitch, if they had me on Drag Race, I would be full cunty. Like, why not? You're on TV, who cares? I mean, probably not. I don't want to get death threats, but it would be fun. Break the dawn. Remember that lip sync? What's happening? Get away from me. I'm gonna be honest with you, doing these quests I've been doing in Genshin has been so much more bearable with Yelan, because she can just do this. And I can like run around and not even give a fuck. Oh, move forward without being noticed. By what? Where are we going? Not this stealth mission. The Aranara following me. See, happy Earth Day. Oh, we run. Okay, we're good. We're doing more okay. Do you not have Earth Day in the UK? You guys don't celebrate the Earth. Why is it Deja Sky Day? So, Keith, since you're a newfound streamer, since you live in the UK, are you allowed to say the F word because it's another way to say a certain product of something? Like, are you allowed to say that? Can you confirm or deny? I think you should try it, and if you get banned, just be like, YOLO. Be a martyr. Hello? Oh. You guys like Cape Cod? Do you think they make Cape Cod chips in Cape Cod? I just sounded so Boston right there. That was nasty. I didn't even mean to do that. My Boston accent just slipped out so bad. Cape Cod. Yeah. Yeah, near my house, it always smells like butt sex and poppers. Near Maddie's house, it just smells like straight shit. Yeah, fuck you, Maddie. Whoa. Are we what are we doing? Ooh, did you hear that? You're my pussy pop. It's sorta kinda like your vagina. Happy Earth Day to Laganja, honestly. By the way, the quest we're doing takes like 3 hours, so we're gonna try to finish it today. Well, sorta kinda. We should take a field trip to the Cape Cod factory. They should make a day in between Earth Day and 420 and just call it like celebrate a day of, I don't know, 420. Then there should be like, oh, there should be like Sky Day, like celebrate the sky and the rainfall. And then everybody plays that one song about the tears falling from the sky onto my guitar or whatever bullshit. And that one Kelly Clarkson song. And then the day after that is Earth Day. Yeah, Marshall keeps saying, he's like, oh my God, you're coming here in winter. We're not gonna be able to do anything during winter because winter in Australia, it just rains. First of all, I should be believing him because he's lived in Australia his entire life. But second of all, I don't think it's gonna rain every single day in Australia the day when I'm there. I don't think. I don't. I don't think. I swear to God if it does. I just like fucked up my knuckles by just knocking on my desk. Find the branch. Can I please find this? Do I have to climb this tree? Happy Earth Day. No, we have to go down. Well, sorta kinda. Playing this without glasses is kind of annoying. I really need contacts. I'm about to order new glasses. Maybe I should ask about contacts while I'm doing it. If you see it, yell at me. I don't want to be doing this quest. Tell me where to go. I can't find the thing. How do I break this? Can I just use Dendro? Oh, work.
Gotcha. Take it easy.
A year without rain. Oh. Oh. Jesus Christ. There's so many caves in Sumeru. Can we give it a rest? Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. You didn't like that? Make the 3 leaves turn towards the branch. Well, yes. Actually, hold on. Where is it?
I got a new letter from an informant. Looks like the situation has changed again.
Well, yes.
Well, yes.
Take it easy.
Oh, I have to do what the fuck is this? Oh, girl, I don't know. What are we pointing it at? Do we like towards where the okay. Why did they stomp like they're literally gonna like murder somebody upstairs? Like we don't have to be stomping around upstairs. I don't know. Is it that serious, Ma? I feel like because I'm not talking to my family right now, they're stomping extra hard upstairs to piss me off. They probably are. Oh, wait, let me get
I see
these.
everything.
Wait, why is this the hot spot for this flower?
Hey,
Where's the last spot?
let's move out.
I might have to put my glasses on, honestly. We're gonna do Genshin quests today. It's like it's really hard for me to see, honestly. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Where is this guy? I thought he was up here. Is he down there still? Probably. Is that new cat girl? Is she a 5-star or is she a 4-star? Wait, why did they just make 2 cat girls one after another? They have Dia and now they have this new cat girl. What's happening? Running out of ideas already, miHoYo! They need to add a Poison Ivy character like a Zyra. They need to add a Plant Mommy character. Down. I don't understand why they haven't. They haven't added a character that's like not human, like traditionally. They need to start adding characters that have like they have in Zenless Zero. They have like some characters that have like devil horns. They have some characters that are a different race. They need to do that. Like the furry guy, they should just go full. I'm not a furry, but like they should just go full with it. No, but like they need to like go there. Like everybody is like literally like for lack of a better words. Like, nobody is like, yeah, like Medusa. I want to see like scary. Yeah, it's literally, I don't give a shit. I don't care what sells and what doesn't sell. They have billions of dollars. So I noticed they updated a lot. Just first, well, if I could go back into anything, I would say keep picking up every single item you can. And then I would say keep up on side quests, but also don't pick up side quests and clog your quest log, because it's pissing me off because I have a bunch of side quests now, because you can't abandon side quests and it really pisses me off. But I got rid of all the side quests, I think, this morning. And this one, my god. But this is a run, huh? I don't know what this is. Oh, this is another one, I think. Yeah, a lot of stuff that's annoying me. Just clogging up my quest log. What the? Okay. Is that enough for a wish? Streamer luck! C1 Nilo! Streamer luck! I'll go fuck myself, it's fine. Like, I really didn't want a character. You stood up on Venti. That was Gaggy. Venti and then Ganyu. That was crazy. What was my last 5-star? I think it was Dia. Okay, I'm not that bad on my pity. I'm at like 24. That's a pretty good pity right now. I don't even know who the next character I want to roll on is. Like, what is the schedule for Genshin like? I know we're getting Star Rail, but like what updates do we have left for Sumeru that we're not gonna get Fontaine? Like, we should be going to Fontaine soon, no? I feel like we're gonna go to Fontaine and, well, they're gonna do this. I don't, like, just bring us to Fontaine and then do the summer event. Cause like, please. Even though I know the summer event's gonna be Kokomi and Klee, but like, still. Also, what a weird assortment of characters. The summer event's gonna be Eula, Kokomi, Klee, and Kea. I'm like, what? Yeah, Klee apparently is gonna have a relation somewhat to the Hexenzirkel, which is the Coven of 13 Witches, I believe. And I think it'll hopefully give us some more information on Alice, which would be nice. Because last year we had a lot of information on Alice. Or the year before, my bad. Was that already 2 years ago? Oh my god, it was, because last year's summer event was Fischl, wasn't it? Oh, there's Withering Zone just randomly here. Hello. Grant, thank you for the follow. Girl, please. That's crazy. I really didn't like it though, I'm gonna be honest. I think the only thing I liked about it was the... Actually, I don't know, it was okay. I wouldn't say hated it, but didn't love it. I like that it was like atmospheric.
Quietly now.
My team kind of eats right now. Girl, they need to get rid of Geo and just make a new element. I'm gonna be honest. Isn't the new girl Geo too? No, she's not. She's Dendro. Wait, no, she's not. What is she? Do I need to watch her video? I was supposed to be in the video. I like the music in this. Honestly, I'm coming around to loving Sumeru as much as I didn't hate it, but like I was just bored with it. It reminds me a lot of Jak and Daxter, honestly. Like the temples and stuff. But like me and Slay Mama the other day were talking about it. I wonder how they're gonna do Fontaine when they do Fontaine, because like what are they gonna do outside of the city? Like what is the atmosphere outside of Fontaine gonna be? Like I'm interested to see what they do with that. Because it can't be desert, it can't be like Mondstadt, it can't be like Inazuma, and it can't be like Sumeru. And I feel like if it was gonna be anything, it would be either like Sumeru or it would be like Fontaine. But I doubt they would repeat anything, especially when it comes to a new region. I wanted to literally just be like an entire like, I want it to be like this size. Like the desert, I want that to be the entirety. I want that to be the city. Like I want a giant fucking city. Like streets I can get lost in. Like almost Attack on Titan style. I don't watch the show. I don't like the show. But like how it's all gated in. Kind of, I mean, Mondstadt's kind of that way. But like I want it to be like huge. Like city I get lost in. Underground, go under the city. There's underground caverns and like sewers.
A minute to memory.
Busted.
Wait, what if they, because like Fontaine's about revolves around Hydro. Oh my god. Gag, clip this, and if they do this, give me a check. Run me my check, mihoyo. What if, because Fontaine's like the water region, what if they do like Jak and Daxter style, they do an underground city? They do like a almost like what is it called, dystopian underground city, and it's like protected by like these old artifacts, and like surrounds itself in like that atmosphere, like kind of like steampunk run underground, kind of like what's it called, Arcane. In Arcane, the Undercity, how the Undercity, yes exactly, yes, you get me, we see each other. I'd be so down for that. Let me kill you, hold on.
The Temple of Wisdom.
Game's up. Time's over.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have like Nahida pretty built and I don't even know what her ult does, so I just kind of use it and I'm like, oh, that's nice. Hi. Girl, calm it down. What do you main in League? Zyra. Listen, I don't mean to boast my own horn or whatever the fuck the expression is, but every time I play Zyra, I eat a Zyra game up. I'm like S-rank Zyra every game. Mastery 7 Zyra, she is my girl. Down. If you want to win, I lock in Zyra. And that's how we win. That's how we eat. Did the Iranha just kill that thing? Oh, he gagged. He gathered. Can you hear me clicking through all of this dialogue? Love the Aranha, but nothing will make me sit down for dialogue. I'm so sorry. Oh, I could play Dead Island later and show you guys the game. I don't know if it'll run well on my PC, but we can try. Oh no, he didn't kill it.
Allow me. Share my knowledge.
Hello? You're going to bed, Fisher?
Dance with the waves. Positions. Turret, bring refuge. Yeah.
Did you see the 10k damage on that one hit? Jeez. Yeah, I woke up at 6 a.m. today, so my sleep schedule was kind of whack, but it's fine.
Things are about to get dicey.
I literally listen to my body. Like, I am the epitome of listen to your body. My body's tired, I'm going to sleep, bitch. If I want to be up at 6 a.m., I guess I'm up at 6 a.m. Eating chicken tenders.
Gotcha.
Happy Earth Day. I hope you're recovering well from your hangover from the other day. What's up? Haven't played this since the last region was released. Wonder if I can transfer my data from PS4 to PC. I believe it's cross. Is it not? I know Slay Mama 123 does that.
Wow, what a lovely surprise.
I think so. But yeah, wait, you haven't played since Inazuma? Oh, baby, you need to go to Sumeru. Sumeru's lit. Also, wait, the difference between Sumeru and Inazuma? I love Inazuma, but wait a second. They kind of ate that. I think you do PC to PS4, but not the other way around. That's kind of fucked up. That's messy boots. What's up? Is that so? That's what I was just saying. I'm like, there's no way we're not gonna get it in like 4.0 or whatever. We're on 3 point something, right? Or are we still in 2? What update are we playing in right now? That's crazy. 3.6. Yeah, there's no way. I think they like to follow a pattern from what I understand. That sucks. What the hell? Maybe you can like message MiHoYo and be like, hi, I'm pretty, give me my 5 stars. The music? Can we relax? The Aranha sitting here. Hi. You literally DJ AF right now.
Quietly now.
Okay.
Allow me.
Yeah, we're just doing. I haven't felt the Genshin like desire in a long time. I don't know why I'm feeling it all of a sudden, but I'm gonna ride it out while I can and get as much done as I can, because also they're coming out with a new game in a couple days. So if I'm gonna be in a routine of signing in daily and keeping up with another game that MiHoYo's having, also I don't want to. It's kind of scary to be like, yeah, I'm gonna be addicted to 2 MiHoYo games, especially because they're gachas. That's lovely for my bank account. Anyways. But yeah, I want to make sure I'm up to date on. And then when Zenless 0 comes out, girl, she's toast. When is Riot, like League of Legends Riot, coming out with their 2D fighter game? Like, what happened to that? I thought they were gonna release one. And then Mage Seeker came out of nowhere. I was like, oh. 2024 work. I want it now. I'm still gagged. The Street Fighter DLC, they're only... Like, I'm gagged. I'm excited for Street Fighter. I hope Street Fighter has a lot of cosmetic DLC lined up if they're only going to release 4 characters for a year. I'm like, y'all better have the cosmetics on lock. Yeah, so the first 4 characters, it's going to be... So the game comes out in summer. So they're having a character come out in fall, winter... What comes? Spring? No. Yeah, spring comes after winter. Wait, is that true? Work. Why does that make no sense in my brain right now? That's weird though, right? Not me thinking there's 2 falls in 1 year. Okay, anyways, we're gonna move on from this. So yeah, they said, so the game comes out in summer 2023. So they said the first character is going to come out in fall, and then winter is another character, and then spring is another character, and then summer next year is another character. And the only new character they're releasing is a woman. So like they're not bringing back any of the returning women that we love until basically next year at the end of the year, because they don't have anything lined up besides these 4 characters, and that sucks because we want Poison, Sea Viper, Ibuki, Sakura, Rose. Like, we want all these characters, and it's like, yeah, it's very strange to me. So they better have like outfits lined up. Yes! Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much. Enjoy your ad-free viewing, my love, and some fun emotes. I don't really have a lot to offer to my subscribers besides my pretty face often and no ads. And then special emotes, and then you can use sound commands if you want. I can't I like literally can't see without my glasses. Can I please? Oh, right here. The no ads by itself is worth it to me. Yeah, some people are like, I feel bad too, because some people like are like, I can't afford it, but I'm also like, steal your parents' Amazon account and just use your Prime. Like, it's fine. That's what I do. I'm on my family's Amazon and I use my Prime sub on people. Oh my god, hello? We're going down, 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 down. Sugar, we're going down swimming. Swimming. I meant to say singing. Wait, what is the word? Swinging. My bad, guys. Sorry. Okay, there's a lot of like giant guys down. Oh my god, there's 7. Okay, nobody wake up. Nobody wake up. Nobody wake up. I need to brush this part of my hair. You're just too careless, Paimon. Like, shut up, Paimon. I want sushi. Make the tree oh, not this again. This thing, wait, this thing's gonna wake up, isn't it? There's no way. Yeah, back it up. I'm scared. Bitch, they're all gonna wake up, watch. Oh. Can you all wake up at the same time so I can like...
Grow.
Here comes the cash.
Hold the line. Share my knowledge.
No, because he's getting gags.
Gotcha.
Positions. Dance with the waves.
That's why I mute my Genshin when I'm not playing on stream. Because Paimon doesn't shut up. I'm like, girl, please. I have no time for it. Is anything even follow? What is that noise? Hello? I want to know what's in that. Hi, guys. A drag queen. A drag queen. I am the queen of drag. Yes, that's me. Hi. This is my moment. I need to brush this. Okay, where is our next stop on this very long journey? Buddy, I'm gonna start timing you out every time you talk about food. Cause bitch, you know I'm hungry. Not this again. I did this earlier and it was so painful.
Here. Huh?
The way you had me in the first half, I was like, oh my god, really? There's money in there? That is nothing in Genshin currency, honestly. 200,000 Mora? Nothing. What the?
Quietly now.
Billowing surge.
Billowing surge.
Grow. Share my knowledge. This may turn out.
Gotcha.
Thinking about how everybody bullied Nahida with her release, which rightfully so, Mihoyo was kind of wrong for her character design, but I felt so bad after learning her story. People still call her ugly. I'm like, stop. Not daughter. Why is there food being placed on the ground? Is this Hansel and Gretel? Not a little roach! Not too much. You're okay. My thing just fell over. Who's subscribing? Human Lady, thank you so much for your Prime sub. Appreciate you. Not you look pretty tasty. Hold on. Wait, this is a folio reference to Hansel and Gretel. The like food being laid out and now talking about like porridge and stuff and like being eaten. Got another bag of Cape Cod chips. I'm rolling with the LGBT. Pretending to care about this dialogue while I eat. Now, why'd you do that? Nice Oodie, Nemesis. Thank you so much, Safety BB. Did you know today's Earth Day? And this is made with special polyester to be so gorgeous and help the environment. Recycled polyester. And then also, if you buy an Oodie or Oodie products, they are partnered right now with me for $35 off if you use code Nemesis Network at checkout. Well, thank you for enjoying my TikTok content. Not me sitting here like eating chips and you're like, oh my god, you're hilarious. No, you should. You should get the, we're doing another sponsored stream with them, I think next stream. They have these thing called sleep tees and sleep hoodies, and they're made by like lightweight fabric opposed to a hoodie, and it's like stretchy fabric and super comfy. You can also work out in them. You should get that. Those are good. Nom. I know they have a Pokemon Oodie too. I couldn't get my hands on one, but really cute. Oh. Matt, thank you for the follow. Report back. Where's that? I liked your thing the other day of in the car, the picture of me on this camp. Oodies make great gifts for any occasion. No, it's true. And you can get one for $35 off with code Nemesis. Like, how gaggy is that? Like, okay, work. Okay, work. Okay, work. Who was that? Sorry. She's gorgeous. She's hot. Gorgeous girls burp and slay it. I like the way I literally curled my hair and it's not even curled anymore. The demon came out. Oh, sure did. Speaking of demons, your mom. Yeah, they're pretty heavy. I actually use a couple of mine for pillows. They're actually really good supplements for pillows. So if you want to get one as like a pillow, you can use that. But also like, they have like lightweight and like loungewear stuff too, which I'm pretty sure the coupon applies to everything on their website. So see if you can get something with that. But, we will be doing a deal with the loungewear as well. Oodie treats us right over here, so they're great. They're also in Australia. I didn't know they were based in Australia, which like I'm gonna have to go to the Oodie HQ when I'm in Australia. I have to do some pics.
Allow me.
Quietly now. Things are about to get...
Just wait for the result. Yeah.
Gagged. God damn it, there's a cave. You really like Garfield, huh? I'm not even lying to you. I had a dream about Garfield the other night. I don't know how he was in my dream, but he made himself into my dream. I was like, oh, what an interesting collab. Oh, I don't even know where this is. Where's the entrance to this cave?
Dodoko? Dodoko, where are you?
Oh my god. Okay. We go this way. Wrong way. I literally almost gasped. I was like, where is this boss?
Gotcha.
The Temple of Wisdom. Yeah. Rest and rebuild. Grow, grow, grow.
Here comes the cash.
Committed to memory. Grow, grow, grow. This dance is for you. All my strength. Sharing my knowledge. Bring refuge.
Busted.
Committed to memory. Allow me. Let's change tactics.
Take it easy.
Let's move out. Let's play turn a little.
Gotcha. These are about to get set.
The Temple of Wisdom. Rest and rebuild. Covenant of the Deep. Everyone hold hands.
That was annoying. These boss fights I have to farm are so uninspired and boring. It's like terrible. Oh, I didn't know that. Honestly, I don't know a lot of the gimmicks with the boss fights. I kind of just swing and pray. Like this one I don't understand either.
Win it!
Shine down. My opponent.
Embrace the ice!
Of course he moves. That's like the unluckiest thing with Ayaka's ult. Like every time I do her ult, it always misses. That's why she's not on my team anymore, honestly. I love her, but like her ult misses so often, it's ridiculous.
Allow me!
Torn.
escape.
Job's over! Hold the line! Torrent, bring refuge!
Take flight.
Unthinkable!
Illusion shattered.
Allow me!
Whirling. Inazuma shines eternal.
Are you done, Ruined Serpent? Like, I hate this fight. This thing is so annoying. Are you serious? I told y'all her ult misses all the time.
Rest and rebuild!
Girl, be serious.
Shine down.
Whirling snow!
Try to get into this game fully, clear the first area in the mountain. Yeah, I didn't like that area, honestly. But also, like, yeah, it gets really, like, grindy. Which is exhausting, but...
This realm is... If you ever have any questions...
Hello? Let's go back to this. I just wanted to use my resin, like, while we're doing this so we can start regenning. I don't know where this cave is. If anybody knows, I would really like to know. But I also can't use this team in Sumeru at all, which sucks. Because I'm lacking so many materials, and it's because I used someone with fire and whatever, so I can't get the required material I need. Such a stupid thing, like having the material you need to collect be locked behind a certain element like thing. I like literally have no idea how to get to this thing. What is it called? Zoro mushroom. I see. I didn't realize this was the quest for this, but it is. Or maybe not? Dude, I don't know. I'm so lost. I can join and show you. Can you please, actually? My UID is like right there. But if you steal any of my shit, I'm kicking you out. Jujubee?
Navigating the world is a whole lot
Oh, hi,
easier with a few
Scaramouche.
different identities to choose from. Need me to come up with some for you?
We're like matching. Is that it right there? Why was this so hard for me to find? Thank you. That was so difficult. God, don't leave me alone in a room. Thank you so much. feel like that's a little dramatic, no? You can get back up there. Yeah, Shenhe's mother. Thank you, Fisher. I love Auntie Shenhe. I'll never forget, that was one of the characters I really wanted in my stream. Everybody gave me money to get her, and we got her. Yeah, I don't know why you wanted that character. What even, like, what? I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that character, so I can't, like, feel I can't even see, like, why you would do that. Because I'm just, like, I don't think like that, so. Also, he can come back, right? Like, you can summon the Aranha. So cute. Pokemon. Oops.
Game's up. Time is over.
Billowing surge! Yeah! Hold the line! Make yourselves a room! Positions!
Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
Excuse me.
Commit it to memory! Let's play Turtle Level.
What is happening? Oh, it's her arrow just auto. Please. I'll be serious.
Grow, grow, grow! Let's play Turtle Level.
Oh. What's happening? Wait, why are you guys attacking me? Stop.
Committed to memory.
Gotcha.
Grow. Yes, here.
All eyes on me.
I don't even think it would work. PvP Genshin. I don't know why so many people want it. Like, I'm not with it, honestly. I don't need like anything competitive in this game. No, right? Yeah. Wait, you do make a good point. Yeah, there would be a pay to win like gap. Literally. Speaking of bank accounts, I like money. Ah. Is this bitch trying to gag us? Oh!
I don't understand.
That was such a troll. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled podcast. That was so rude, Kim. Oh, they were trying to gag us. Oh, you want to fight? You're funny. Y'all going down. Easy. So, what now? Ew, not my phone reminding me of a photo shoot I did 2 years ago and it's ugly. Oh my god, hiccups. Mm-mm.
Take it easy. Bust it.
This may hurt a little. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Cha, cha, cha.
Here. Ah.
Cha, cha.
Committed to memory. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cha.
Hey,
I did not mean to do that.
positions.
Things are about to get dicey. Quietly now. Ta, ta, ha, ha. Gotcha. Cha.
Roll, roll, roll. Yeah, with all my strength. Dance with the waves. Yeah.
Okay, let's not fall. Wait, there's another one. A key? Okay. Where? Oh, right here.
Positions.
Girl!
The Temple of Wisdom.
Ta. Here comes the catch. Cha. Take it easy. Ha, ha, ta.
Committed to memory. Yeah, with all my strength. Wow, what a lovely surprise.
Girl, I'm out of here.
I see everything.
Oh my god, literally it was the Peach movie. But I meant it should have just been repackaged as the Princess Peach movie. Down. It was everything. I said it yesterday because someone asked as well. Honestly, it's like on par for like classic movies like Shrek for me. Honestly, just like so iconic to me. I don't know. Just really into that movie. It's really good. Hey, Crimson. Tens from me. Just because of all the references to the Mario stuff, I'm like such a big Mario nerd. I was like, yeah, this is tens. I can't wait for it to come to streaming services next month so I can stream it like everywhere. And just like never shut up about it. And nobody will have an excuse to not see it because it'll be on streaming services. Oh, my leg.
Take it easy.
Give me this.
Quietly now.
This may hurt a little. Yeah. Hold the line. Commit it to memory.
Gotcha. Things are about to get dicey. Take it easy. Treasure.
Oh,
One way to draw your target out of hiding.
hi, Laser Jesus. I'm good. Just a super relaxing day, super cozy stream because I'm in an Oodie.
Take it easy.
Oh, please go.
Busted.
This may hurt a little. Here. Rest and reach. Share my knowledge. Turn. Bring refuge. All my strength. For you.
I need all of these. Give me these materials. Oh, wow. This is pretty. Break the seal of the flower. Jeez, there's a lot down here.
Game's up. Time's over.
Make yourselves at home. Here, this dance is for you.
Quietly now.
Give me, I need all of this stuff because I'm lacking on it.
Treasure. One way to draw your target out of hiding.
Oh wait, look, there's a bunch. What is this?
Grow.
Work. You take us this time, friend. Ow. Canker on my tongue. That hurt.
Gotcha.
This way for you.
Here comes the catch.
Hello, Telesessi.
All eyes on me.
Did not mean to do that. We work with it. We work with it.
Grow. Share my knowledge.
I shouldn't have ulted, but it's fine. Actually, it's fine.
We should make the most of these supplies.
I can't see. Okay, wait. Let me see what was back there. What did this open?
Game's up. Fun's over.
Minute to memory.
The only blue lip I stan is Yelan's blue lip. The only one I'll ever stan.
Take it easy. Gotcha.
She looks good.
Grow.
Oh, that was a shortcut? I don't live for that. I missed! Hi, Calvin. Let's go, Mr. This way. Give me this stuff. Oh. I didn't mean to hit that button, but okay. We move on. Does she does have a blue lip. Yeah, it's like a blue lip and a blue eyeshadow. Monochromatic queen. Perfect. Does this open now? I hope it does. Yes. Then we get the last piece over here, I assume. What was that? You know what? I'm gonna ignore it. Okay.
Hold the line. This way for you. The Temple of Wisdom.
Busted.
The minute to memory.
No! I can't! There's no possible way for me to get a pizza from Domino's. You guys just torment me.
This way for you.
The only way I could get one is if I drove myself, which wouldn't, like, I would have to get it in 2 different Ubers because I can't drive. So it would be a lot of money. Although I did consider going to the mall today and I probably could have gotten it, but I don't know. I need basics. Like I just need like t-shirts, I need like skirts, I need stuff. So I was like, maybe I'll go to the mall, but then I decided to play Genshin all morning instead. And it's also the weekends. I'd rather go during the weekday so the kids aren't at the mall. You know what I mean? I don't need the high schoolers to slur me while I'm shopping.
Committed to memory. Yeah. Make yourselves a home. Yeah.
Quietly now.
Let's sleep. All my strength. Dance with the waves.
No, yeah, I can't drive. It's very apparent. I just have too much anxiety for it. And I'm just a passenger princess. Like I've never had to get my license. It would be nice right now, but like I've always like been a city girl, so I've never had to get a car. Like I lived from Boston to Boston to New York, New York to Providence, Providence to Boston. So I've always been in the big cities. So I don't need a car. I just take public transportation. And now that I'm home, I don't really leave my house often enough to be like, yeah, let me get a car. Like even if I got a car right now, I wouldn't do anything with it. So like why would I bother? That's another bill for me to pay. It's just easier to Uber everywhere.
Just wait for a little.
Easy money. Bust it.
Positions.
Things are about to get dicey.
No,
Oh man, Nahida.
let's move out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you're obligated to drive either. I'm a passenger princess, and that's okay. I'm too pretty to drive. I should be taking selfies in the passenger seat. Oh my god, this morning I like brushed my teeth and like my teeth would not stop bleeding. Like it was so much blood this morning. I was like, relax. Oh my god, we're finally approaching the end of the Aranara. Oh my god, that's so godly. I love that. Where's this last one? I think I see it. I knew it.
Take it easy.
My mind.
Easy money.
I loved the Luma. I just loved seeing like all the little things. Like I loved the reference. I also like, not to be, no shade to Rosalina, but I was happy that the Luma got his little spotlight because I love Rosalina, but the Lumas are my fave. Great comedic timing too with like all of the delivery of its lines. Please don't make me pick up this random side quest. I don't want to do it. Oh wait, that's the quest we're going to, lol. Hello. We're almost done. The pain is almost over. Yeah, same. I loved it. I lived. Not a For You page on fucking Snapchat.
I wonder who this gift could be from.
I'm really excited. Oh, sorry. I'm like phasing out of existence while playing this. I just want this quest to be over with. We're almost done. But I'm good. Oh, they're so unserious. Mihoyo, some days you test me.
This may hurt a little. Positions. Huh?
Whose team? Jessica Wilde, mostly. Team Trans Rights, so Monica Beverly Hills. Stan Alexis Michelle, she's fucking hilarious. Lala Ree. Yeah. I think that's about it. Yeah, her glove's kind of insane. I don't know how I feel about her, though. We'll have to wait and see. They love this quest, like gimmick and this quest line. Do you think RuPaul knew some of these girls? Because I know like RuPaul doesn't remember a lot of girls. Like, I'm interested to see how RuPaul interacts with some of these girls on this season.
Game's up. Fun's over.
A minute to memory.
Okay.
The Temple of Wisdom. Here.
All eyes on me.
Covenant of the Deep.
Like, the water right here is so unnecessary.
This may hurt a little. Positions. A minute to memory. Find anything you like?
Yeah, I know. That's like what makes it interesting though. I like to see the girls that don't really have a lot of the accolades make it and see like what they can do this season. Like James went home first. Like, that's crazy. But James is an all-star. Like James is a great contestant.
Here comes the catch.
A minute to memory. Stop.
No, literally.
This may hurt a little.
That's so real though.
A minute to memory.
I mean, if Roop forgot Jinx, you know what I mean? Like, damn. Is he gonna remember Kahana and Monica? I don't know. I do, because I'm a stan, but RuPaul doesn't watch his own fucking show, so. RuPaul watches, like, the recap videos, and that's it. damn it.
Make yourselves at home. Rest and rebuild. Follow my strength.
Gotcha.
I forgot she did that on All Stars or whatever.
Things are about to get dicey.
We talked about it last stream and I was like, I forgot she did that like ghost alien number with the baloney on All Stars. Hypothetically. All Stars being UK versus the world, but I don't know if you count that as an All Stars. Bro, can these like hunters go away? Like, get away from me. I have an itch on my leg. Ow. Oh, that was good. I don't even remember that season. That season feels like such a fever dream. Mo should have won that shit. Oh. If I get shot out of the sky right now, I'm gonna be so upset. Me either. I don't watch a lot of their YouTube content either. But she's a great person. Like, she's really cute. So I'm excited to see what she does. Okay.
Take it easy.
Hello? It said use it to get over there. What do you mean? Oh, I can just do this. Agree, but could you imagine if it was Raja and Mo in like the versus the world Hall of Fame? That would be iconic. No shade to Blue. It is kind of shade to her, but you know, it's fine. I want this quest to be over. We're almost done. We're almost done. We're almost done. Oh man, I'm out of my drink.
Busted.
Positions. Yeah.
Girl, I love Tati. Need her back. She came to our local bar one time and she was doing poppers and drinking with us. It was so fucking fun. Oh my god, I'm so cozy right now. Oh wow. Y'all ate that. No idea what's happening, but like whatever.
Here.
Oh, I love that. I love that for you. For you. Is that a withering area? What the? Whatever.
Take it easy.
Oh my god, I have to sneeze. What the?
Grow.
Why is it not letting me use it? How do I switch it? Okay.
Quietly now. Game's up. Comes
The
up.
boob shot?
Committed to memory. Let's change tactics. Grow.
I don't know.
This may hurt a little.
Hi baby, what's up? I'm stuck onto this puzzle. Oh, that would make sense. Never mind, it doesn't. What was that? I'm leaving.
Committed to memory.
Feeling stuck on this puzzle. Feeling frustrated I could rip my own balls off. Okay.
Take it easy.
You are so.
Let's play turtle.
Oh my god. Girl! That's what I thought. Okay. This puzzle is unironically very
With all my strength, this
hard for me to
dance is for you.
understand.
Yeah. Hold the line. Billowing surge. Let's move out.
Take it easy.
They do. Okay.
Thrust and rebuild.
That's why I love this game. The character design is pretty on par.
Take it easy.
I just feel like the meteors like chasing me around this level is just like a level of unnecessary,
Quietly now.
considering how much fucking damage they do. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hello.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Okay, whatever. Leave me alone for like 2 more seconds, random enemy, please.
Hold the line. Commit it to memory.
Dance with the waves.
Okay. Let me press this. Why can't I do this? Oh my god. This game is testing me.
Gotcha. Game's up. Fun's over. Busted.
Positions. Roll.
That wasn't even for what I needed. Ow.
Take it easy. Quietly now.
Allow me. The Temple of Wisdom.
This dance is for you.
Covenant of the Deep.
Busted.
Girl! Stop.
Here comes the cash.
This may hurt a little.
Quietly now.
Commit it to memory.
I took all of my brain cells. Every single last one.
Find anything you like?
I finished it. Why do I still need to do this Aranara quest? Oh. Hi, Queen. Well, anyways. I don't know why I can't. Oh.
Hello, traveler. Have you ever heard of a moment of dreams?
No.
Oh, that's
Dreams have become the same goes for
Blooming Onion team.
Yes.
My team does a
We
lot of
organized
damage,
an
actually.
us-all
I'm
event
glad that I have,
a
like,
moment-
so
a team that can
You could say
sustain
that.
the
Yeah,
new.
but wait. But if
Because, like,
there
I've
are
had the
dreams
same team for the last 2 years,
instead of
honestly.
consider
So I'm, like, glad I could
Really? So
get
you
some
mean
new gals in the
you've already
rotation.
seen many dreams?
But no need to get so excited. It's really nothing special.
No. Please allow me to address you two as...
Oh,
Now you seem in rest assured.
wow. Sign us up. But wait, Paimon's getting ahead of herself again. Why did you say? All right. Do you know what's the most important part of being an expert?
Oh, I know.
Well, I suppose it must be
I'm enjoying it,
accumulating
though.
knowledge and sharing your experiences?
Nope. It's all about the title. From now on, Paimon will be known as Paimon, the Dream Expert.
Oh, okay.
I need to do some stuff, though. I want to get Nilu to level 90. I should probably get... Yeah, I got one from, like, just now. I was like, oh. Okay. For these fights, I'm gonna use someone. Yeah, everybody didn't really like her. I was like, guys, I think she's fine. I don't think she's terrible. I just, like, could not hate a single Genshin character, if I'm honest. Hi, House Music. I smile for you. Hi. Hey. Well, Maddie's sleeping. You know how it is.
Rest and rebuild.
Now you shall perish. Illusion shattered.
Higher, higher, hands on fire. A brash maneuver torrent, bring refuge.
So true. Oh, did you get a teeth cleaning?
There is no escape.
Embrace the ice.
What did I say about Ayaka's ult? It always misses.
Allow me.
I told you guys. Are you done playing your games in the sky?
Hold the line.
Did you
Illusion
live?
shattered. Now you shall perish.
Oh. That artifact. Oh. Dio, thank you for the follow. Hi, Devin Form. He makes me mad. I should have more of these, but... Oh, I've been blonde, baby. I've been blonde. I need stuff for Haizu, because I'm trying to build Haizu. I haven't done my weekly bosses recently either, honestly. I don't want to. Yeah, I kept the roots so I wouldn't have to get it like touched up as frequently, so... Where is Scaramouche? I don't want to do this fight, but I honestly probably should. Hello, where is the entrance? Oh, what an entrance.
I've been waiting for you for ages.
I await your instruction.
Stay close and you will live.
Ta-da! Clee's here.
It's time to pull the trigger.
Let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to do this fight with them, but we'll see.
Let it be known that divinity is mine. Be
There is no escape.
Stop fighting. Make yourself a move. Covenant's on the beat.
Insignificant past.
Illusion shattered.
Allow me.
Inazuma shines eternal. There is no escape.
My endless cycle begins.
About to get dicey.
This way, Cradle. Sharing my knowledge. Rust and reaping.
Illusion shattered. Now you shall perish.
Perish!
Let us see.
Hold the line.
1,000 eons, mine to dominate.
You missed.
Burn to oblivion. Kneel.
A fresh maneuver. Foresight brings victory.
Girl.
Allow me. Let's move out.
Tremble.
Uphill battle. Hold the line.
Reality
Oh shit.
Good riddance, cruel world.
Well, all right.
Committed to memory.
Did not mean to do that. All right, just insta kill me. I'm ready.
Your new god awakens.
Lasts forever.
Now, your eyes have been opened.
There is no escape. Insolent.
Oh my god. Forgot how hard this fight is. Okay, I forgot really how hard this fight is.
Let's move out. Hope. Fine.
Reality is pain.
Take it easy.
Committed to memory.
Shine down.
Oh god, please.
Lose it all again.
Jesus Christ, that is its own thing. My god. Well, anyways. Let's continue our adventure. Why can't I get this quest? Whatever.
It's raining again? This isn't good. If the rain washes away the traces, it's gonna set us back a long way. Ow!
Girl! You fell 2 feet. Wait, today is Earth Day. Sure is, baby. Sure enough is.
Trust and rebuild.
Oh, it's down here.
Grow, grow, grow.
I just saw Earth Girl. How could you forget? So messed up. That's so effed up. I can't believe I just said that. Hello? Well, how do I get down there? Why does it keep de-equipping this one thing I need in my inventory? Stop. Oh, they took it away. Rude? What the fuck?
This blinding sunlight is such a pain. No way I can get a nap in this weather. Yeah.
I'm getting fed up. Genshin, you're seriously overcomplicating literally everything and it's pissing me off. I just want to do your stupid fucking quests, bro. Like, let me do them.
Treasure. One way to draw your
Why do I have to
target
give my arm and a leg to do a quest? My Jesus Christ. Wait, it does say Araganji. That's everything. Head to the Grove of Dreams to find Araganji. Look up tutorial for every fucking goddamn quest.
Take it easy. I forgot it's the other way. Oh! Let me clear this withering zone. Take it easy.
This may hurt a little. Hold the line.
Busted.
Commit it to memory. Allow me. Everyone hold hands.
Okay. Oh my god.
There is no escape. Inazuma shines eternal.
everything.
Busted.
Grow. Make yourselves at home.
Here comes the cash.
Turn, bring refuse.
Quietly now.
Can this thing just die?
Shattered.
Mmm.
Take them. I have no need.
All right. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I'm rolling with the LGBT. I feel like that's important. How do I get in there? How do I get in there? Whatever. You're gonna what? Oh, hold on, wait. Let's think about what we're doing. Wait, how short are you gonna get it? What's happening? Why can I not find the entrance to this thing? My god. It's like right above. Work. Yeah, I want them to cut my dead ends when I go in and like layer it a little because my hair is so heavy, it's gross. I think I found the entrance, guys. Oh my god, finally I found the entrance.
Again? Oh, this isn't good. If the rain washes away the traces, it's gonna set us back.
Work. Sauce is here. What's your sauce? Hello, wait a second. We go back. Play a rhythm at the Great Dream Designate. Okay, I gotta play a little song, a little tune.
But the truth is still unknown.
You literally fell 2 centimeters. She's so dramatic. She's water sign coded. Arakanti, yes. So Arakanti. We don't need to get into the intricacies of it. Call to me, call to me. Queen. I'm running out of revives. Uh-oh.
Hold the line.
That was so annoying. We have to find the branch of Ari Kunti. We love Natty in this house. Ow. They wish they could book me for creative writing in WWE. They probably pay their writers like shit, and that's probably why we don't get anything good in WWE. They're like, yeah, you want to pay me shit? Well, we're gonna do shit storylines. I see that. I can't believe we're getting Seth versus Omos. That is such a slap in the face to Seth. I feel so bad. If he leaves the company, honestly, good on him. I know him and Becky are beefing the backstage with the board of directors. I'd be so bothered. Yeah, UFC. I honestly don't know the intricacies of it, so I really cannot even tell you. Watch Seth get drafted to SmackDown. Is Roman like on SmackDown? Like that's his show? I thought he was just on both. Like, does it matter? Interesting. This again, girl? If Gunther did it, honestly, that's my pick to do it. I'm gonna be so real with you.
Take it easy.
I saw a picture of Logan Paul naked. Don't know why that happened, but I saw it. I guess he just takes a lot of naked pictures. He takes a lot of pictures of like teasing his nakedness, like covering his pee-pee and then like turning around to show his butt. Like, okay. Anyway. Arakanti knows. Oh, she knows. If they do anything like this with Fontaine, I'm sorry, you need to learn from your mistakes, Genshin. This was not the move. This 12-hour side quest, I can't. Girl, already Rhea needs to lose the title, I'm sorry. I don't even care. I'm so over long title reigns. Over it. Swap the titles back and forth, please. I can't. Are we not going towards the center of this thing? Really? She wasn't the legal one? That's funny. Ooh, weird take. Rhea has deserved that reign for a long time. She beat Charlotte for it. Bianca should lose the title ASAP. I disagree. Quite the opposite for me. Bianca could reign for another couple years. I wouldn't care. Rhea's literally walking around with men. She's doing nothing for the division. Ooh. She's earned it. She's a great athlete. But if she's going to be walking around the Judgment Day, she shouldn't be having a title. Give it to the other girls. Yeah, I miss when Rain, like, it's annoying because, like, yeah, it would probably be the opposite if Liv Morgan got a long reign. I'd probably be like, Liv can reign forever, I don't care. But also, like, of course the only short reign we get was Liv Morgan, right? It's so annoying. Like, of course they would do that to us because they hate us. The only interesting title reign. I miss when we would get title changes that were fun. Like, let's have fun. They make wrestling too serious nowadays. Like, that tag match made me happy. Like, the water gimmick, that was fun. But, like, wrestling just isn't fun. They're like, let's give someone a title for 479 days. No! Paimon, can you shut the fuck up? I wish I had a fly swatter for Paimon at sometimes.
Quietly now.
She's like, I don't want to do it. Bitch, you're doing nothing. It's the Traveler that's doing everything, not you, Paimon. Always complains. So annoying. Not too much. As long as I can see Theory on TV and that ass, I'm set.
Busted. Yeah, committed to memory.
this is stupid. I hate this over here. This is ridiculous. Do you guys see what's happening?
Okay, Battle. With all my strength. I gotta keep my hair.
Busted.
This dance is for you. This way through
Not
the-
KSI.
hold the line. Roll. Positions. Yeah.
Things are about to get tight.
This way through the living.
Things are about to get dicey.
Roll.
Yeah, literally, this quest line is literally ridiculous.
This way through the living. Billowing surge.
Gotcha.
All my strength.
Of course, I die. I'm overstimulated as fuck right now. Like, I literally can't with this quest.
Quiet.
With all my strength.
Here comes the catch. Gotcha.
Okay. That was a lot. Yawn, what a boring quest. I didn't see that. I didn't watch SmackDown this week. Honestly, wrestling, I'm really like falling out of love with wrestling right now just because of the way they're booking everything. Like, I still love it, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to be like planning my days around it anymore. I'm sad I missed the tag match though. I heard it was good. Yeah, I'm not gonna like plan my days around it. It's not even worth my time. We only got one women's match like it's fucking 2009.
I got a new letter from an informant.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you're right. But like, a lot of them are misogynistic, so it's like, you know. They just don't see women as, they don't respect women, which sucks, but that's just how it shakes down. Yeah, we like desperately need a draft. It's like really bad right now. SmackDown's like suffering from like only having like 2 top stars, and Raw has like 10 for women, so. And SmackDown's shorter, so they kind of like need some really good women to like, you know, spice it up. Like Liv Morgan is really one of the only top girls there. I hope Shotzi goes to Raw. I hope Shotzi goes to Raw. You know what we should do? I should do like my own draft. We should do that after this. I should do like my own like little graphic of where I want to see the girls. I need to do a BRB though. I need to go to the bathroom, but I'd like to get somewhere with this. Actually, I'm just gonna do it now. I'll be right back, guys.